Hello and welcome to Hot Tea with Holly. I am Holly and I am having a cup of hot tea. How are you? Today, it's a PG tips kind of day, you guys. It is. In fact, I'll be honest, this is my third cup of tea today. So as you can tell, I am not in my Pennsylvania studio. I'm actually in California. I'd like to say I'm in Los Angeles, but I'm actually not in Los Angeles proper. I am, in fact, in Crestline, California, which is out near Lake Arrowhead in the mountains, as you can see from my lovely fireplace here. So welcome, welcome. If you are new to Hot Tea with Holly, I am here every week at this time, 1 o'clock on the East Coast, where I have a hot cup of tea, and we will talk about that in a moment. And today we're also going to be talking about something I've never talked about here before, which I am so excited about. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about and if you can feel me. So, have you ever seen or met those women who seemingly are able to eat whatever they want and stay skinny? Or have you ever had a friend who just claims that she just eats pizza and burgers and ice cream and her favorite things and drinks wine every night and just eats whatever she wants and she always looks fabulous? That is what we are dishing about today. It's one of my favorite conversations offline that I've either had with my clients or my friends. And all of a sudden I was like, why have I not talked about this in a public forum? Because it's such an interesting concept. So let me know, do you have a friend or do you know a woman in your life who seemingly eats whatever she wants and maintains her weight or always looks fabulous or never seems to struggle with what to eat, never seems to struggle with her favorite foods? It just seems to be that she can eat as much as she wants of whatever foods she chooses, and it never seems to have any negative consequence. Let me know if you know this girl. I'm going to tell you something. I'm to some degree, I used to be completely baffled by this concept until I really came to understand it. So as you know, I've now been in the fitness and nutrition industry for 30 years, and I've been coaching women like this for many, many years. And early on in my career, I was always very baffled. And I'll be honest, a little what's the right word? Like resentful of women like this who are able to just eat whatever they want, whereas I was always struggling with trying to find the right diet that really worked for me. The truth is, up until the age of 40, I was, for the most part, always carrying around probably an extra 10 pounds on my body that I didn't really need. And there were a few flare-ups in life where I would drop the weight and I would feel healthy and I would really feel at my best. But inevitably, it would elude me, and I would once again find myself with an extra 10, sometimes often 15 or more pounds. And I could never really find the right way of eating that got me to that place where I could just like eat whatever I want. So I sit before you now, kinda almost like one of those women. The truth is, these days I am able to eat a lot of my favorite foods on a more regular basis, and I'm able to keep my physique. Now, that does come with a disclaimer, which we're going to be talking about in a moment, because that is what this whole conversation is about, actually. It's about the disclaimers that you don't often hear. You often hear the side of it or see the side of it from those women who seem to be able to drink wine every night and have dessert, and they just don't seem to have a care about what they eat. And yet they seem to stay healthy and thin and at their ideal body weight or fabulous, whatever adjective you want to use here. You know who I'm talking about. Give me a hello. If you're here with me live, please say hello. And if you're watching this in playback, I film Hot Tea with Holly live every Tuesday at 1 o'clock on the East Coast on my Holly Perkins Fitness page on Facebook. And if you're watching this in playback, you may be seeing it on my blog or on YouTube. Come on over and join us live for an episode. You can just visit me on my Holly Perkins Fitness page on Facebook, and then we will be here at this time every Tuesday. So if you're here with me live, please say hello and share with me. Is this conversation something that touches your life in some way? I'm going to be sharing with you 3 truths about this misunderstanding because it really is a misunderstanding. I have yet to meet anyone in all my years of coaching men and women. I have yet to meet anyone who legitimately eats whatever they want, as much as they want, as often as they want. It doesn't happen. And that's actually the truth. So I'm going to be sharing with you 3 truths about this misunderstanding. And I'm going to help you move in the direction of being able to eat your favorite foods on a more regular basis and still reach whatever your specific goals are. And really, when it comes down to it, we all have different goals. So it is important to keep in mind what your specific goal is and get real specific about it. Because a lot of times, people, so many women that I know, are walking around with this sort of assumption that the goal is to lose weight. I did this for years and years and years and years until I really turned things around at the age of 40. So I want you to really ask yourself, like, what is really your goal? Because you, like many of us, have probably been brainwashed by the weight loss industry to assume that your goal is to lose weight. It's such a knee-jerk reaction for so many women these days. And so I really encourage you to get a little bit more specific. What's your goal? Because really, there might be a part of you thinking, I'd like to lose 3 or 4 pounds, or I'd like to lose 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 pounds. I want you to look a little bit deeper about what your specific goal is, because as I look deeper with my clients, what I often find is, sure, it would be great to release some extra body fat, but it's actually not their number one goal. What many of my clients ultimately want is to feel better, to be healthier, to be stronger and look more athletic. And that may or may not necessarily mean a change in body weight on the scale. So let's dish on this today. If there are any technology issues would one of you let me know? Thankfully, Heidi, my unofficial tech assistant, is here today. How are you guys? Welcome to California. It is a gorgeous, sunny day here. It's a little colder than I want it to be. I was hoping to be getting some warm, amazing California sunshine on this trip. And it's sunny. It's just not very warm. So I'm having my hot cup of tea. We got the fireplace going. We got the heat on. Welcome, welcome. If you are having a cup of tea, a caffeinated beverage, an iced tea, a glass of water, what's your beverage of choice today? Do dish, share with me, because every time I ask for this, you guys share something new and interesting. Every week I learn of a new tea or a new coffee concoction or some kind of new beverage. So what are you drinking? I'm proud to say I'm having my PG Tips. The tea bag is still in here, so it's nice and strong. But because this is my 3rd cup today, this one does not have any maple syrup in it. Normally I have a half a teaspoon of maple syrup in my PG Tips. If you know PG Tips, Elizabeth, are you here? You know it's a really nice, strong tea, and it can handle a little bit of milk and sugar or cream and sugar. I use maple syrup as my sweetener. I tend not to use sugar, and I don't use any dairy. But being it's my 3rd cup of tea, we're going straight. We're going straight for the caffeine and the strength today. So talk to me. How are you guys? Amy, how are you? I love that you are here. Gina, okay. Heidi, Marcy, what are you up to? Jennifer Bean, can't wait to see you. The days are counting down. So exciting. Gina shares, I was able to eat anything until I was 55. Gina, let's stick around. I cannot wait to talk to you about this. Oh, by the way, the fact that you guys are here tells me that you are really kind of my inner circle. You are the ones who are here on a more regular basis. And by the way, I'm so glad that you are, because this would be totally boring to be sitting here having this conversation all by myself. So I love you and I'm so glad you're here. But hey, I wanted to throw an idea out for you guys. Mary, hello. Tracy Hand Jones, you guys, hold on one second. Tracy Hand Jones, as always, is not letting us down. Today, she's got yet another hot beverage Tulsi Raspberry Peach by Organic India, which, by the way, if you don't know Organic India, it's a wonderful brand and they do a bunch of different Tulsi teas. We've talked about Tulsi tea here before, but if you're still unfamiliar with what Tulsi tea is also known as holy basil. It's an herbal tea. It's a tincture of sorts. It's an adaptogenic herb. And Tulsi tea is really amazing for you if you're trying to reduce your caffeine, if you are wanting your body to be able to handle stress a bit better. That's what an adaptogenic herb is. It is an herb or a compound that really helps your body restore, rejuvenate, and do what your body is supposed to do. So I'm a huge fan of Tulsi teas. Any holy basil, I don't love the flavor of it, so I don't drink it on a regular basis. But that is such a great suggestion for those of you guys that do love a warm beverage, but want something that really helps your body help itself, really, is what an adaptogenic herb is. So, Tracy, thank you for that recommendation. Mary, so glad that you're here as well. So I wanted to let you guys know, as you know, I've repackaged this Hot Tea with Holly. It used to be Live with Holly, Tea Time with Holly, and we are now Hot Tea with Holly. And I'm here every week, once a week for this live episode. And I'm going to be introducing some new formats to this quote unquote live show, this live streaming that we do each week. And one of the things that I'm really excited to do in the coming weeks is to actually offer the opportunity for any of you who join me here on a regular basis to come on and join me live for some free coaching. If you would ever like to appear with me here on video, you don't have to appear on camera, but you would need to appear at least via audio on live audio feed. If you ever want to join me here for some free coaching, please let me know. You can add your name to the comments here if you're watching live. If you're watching this in playback, you can add a comment down below in the comment section. You can also email me at holly@hollyperkins.com. Let me know what you're struggling with. What kind of coaching do you need support with? Are you trying to build muscle? Are you trying to release some body fat? Are you struggling with an autoimmune disorder or any kind of digestive issue that you want to workshop? And I will be selecting a few key people to join me here for an upcoming episode to give you some free coaching. So whatever you're struggling with, if you've ever been like, I wonder what Holly would say about that, or I need to pick Holly's brain about this topic, this is your opportunity to join me. I'll probably be offering this kind of opportunity about once a month, and I am now scheduling that in the future. So if you want to join, hit me up. You can just leave the comment here if you're with me on the live feed, or send me an email and let me know. It would be so good to get to spend some time with you and provide some free coaching. Back on topic, because this is a good one. Hi, Christy. So if you are just hopping in now, welcome to Hot Tea with Holly. Today we are talking about this concept of those women who seem to be able to eat whatever they want, right? They're able to drink wine every single night. Or at least this is what they report. And if you know someone like this, share some details. Or if you feel like you've been someone like this in the past and you're not that way now, share the details. Because I'm going to be sharing with you 3 specific truths about this misunderstanding and how you can also move towards that idea in your own life, because there are a lot of big misunderstandings around this concept. The first, let me paint the picture a little bit more, right? Because I think even if you don't have a woman in your life who represents this, we often hear this in the media about celebrities. So I'm going to let you in a little behind the scenes. I actually just got off the phone a little while ago, earlier today, with an interview with someone from the press. It's a publication that I have not met with before. It's actually a UK-based male publication. And so it's a little different than the journalists that I normally speak with, but it was an incredible interview that I will be sharing with you guys when it publishes, hopefully later this week. But we were talking about a particular concept I'll talk about later. I'll share with you later. And part of the interview was me sharing something I know, having have worked in Hollywood for actually my entire career. I mean, even when I was fresh off the boat in my early 20s and started my career as a trainer in New York City, I was working with some of the biggest celebrities ever. Back then was when I was working with Julia Roberts, Natasha Richardson. Who else was I working with? Kelly Klein. I mean, a whole bunch of people. That was back when I was working with Howard Stern. So many people. So I was working with a lot of famous people at the very start of my career. I still do. But something that happens inside of Hollywood that a lot of people aren't aware of is this concept that for the big celebrities, in order for them to be celebrities, we have to believe that there is something extraordinary about them. And often there is something extraordinary about them. But is also this mystique. There is also this notion that they are sort of superhuman. They are sort of super extraordinary. They are different from us. And they have to maintain this image of being special, unusual, and unique. Otherwise, we wouldn't think that they were so special. We wouldn't think of them as superstars, right? And so a lot of times in Hollywood and in the media, something that I've seen a lot in the industry is this idea where people will sort of spin a notion like, I eat whatever I want. Cameron Diaz used to say this, and I know, in fact, it's not true. But I have not worked with her, but I did actually work in a very small gym alongside of her and her trainer years ago. But there are a lot of celebrities that are like, oh, I just eat whatever I want, because it really continues this idea that they are unlike you, that they are unusual, and that they are special. And so even if you don't have a woman in your life that claims this, many of us are able to reference, let's say, a celebrity or somebody in the media who has gone on record to claim that they just eat whatever they want. And so here's the deal. Again, share with me if you are familiar with this or if you have someone in your life that this really applies to. Because the truth is, it's just not true. So let's jump into the truths because it is a big misunderstanding. It's just not true. Every time I've met someone, trained someone, or been able to be privy to the information of someone like this, and I scrutinize a little bit further with my education and my experience, every single time I've found it's not true. So I had a client years ago, and I still see her from time to time. I'm not going to reveal who it is. She's uber famous, and I have a very strict NDA. I'm not allowed to reveal anything about her. So I'm not even going to give you enough information on who she is. But she is one of these people. She is gorgeous. She is rail thin. She is so skinny. And like in the media and in photos, she is just like this skinny supermodel type. Okay. And she claims to eat whatever she wants, but being her trainer, I know the other side of it. And it's not exactly true. I'll give you the dish on how people believe that's what they're doing, but they're not really doing. And so I know it's not true. And what it really comes down to is truth number one. What it comes down to is energy. So there's a law of physics that all humans are beholden to. And this law of physics is really the law of energy in versus energy out. So you might remember from high school physics that energy is neither created nor destroyed. Energy can't be destroyed, and energy can't be created. It all gets transmuted. It all gets transferred. It all gets changed into another form. And so body fat, body weight, calories, food, all are part of this law of energy. So the truth is, what it comes down to is energy in versus energy out is what's going to determine whether your body gains body fat, releases body fat, builds muscle, maintains, even if there's a change in your body composition. It all really comes down to the energy in and the energy out. How much energy are you taking in? How much energy are you expending out? How much energy are you restricting from your body? And how much energy are you bringing in, but you're actually intentionally burning off. And another way of saying this is calories. But calories has gotten such a bad rap in the world these days, and so many people don't want to talk about calories. Calories are just a measure of energy. It's a unit, it's a measure of energy that gets ascribed to food. So the food that we eat comes into our body as a measure of energy. And some foods have more energy, some foods have less energy. And when you are physically active or working out, or depending on what your lifestyle is, you're also expending energy that has come to you through the energy in food. We take food in, we eat it, it gets assimilated, it gets broken down, it gets transmuted and transferred into the energy that our body then expends in a variety of ways. And if we don't expend as much as we take in, that's when there's the potential for body fat gain or maybe even muscle growth, depending on what your programming is. That's why I'm such a proponent of being crystal clear on what's your programming and what's your goal. Because if you are following a muscle building program nutritionally, but you're not following a muscle building program in the gym, all of those extra calories coming in are going to turn to body fat when what we want them to turn into is building muscle, right? So it really does come down to what your programming is. So the real truth about those women who seem to eat whatever they want, the truth is it really just comes down to energy balance. Behind the scenes, what you don't know is that while they might be eating a bite or two of a cheeseburger tonight and a couple of French fries and one glass of wine, that doesn't mean they're doing that every single night. And when she says, I eat whatever I want, she might only want one piece of chocolate, whereas I eat the whole damn chocolate bar, right? And so there's a lot of subjective attitudes, personalities, habits, and opinions that you're not privy to when you meet or know or hear of a woman who eats whatever she wants. Because your idea of eating whatever you want might actually be very different than someone else's idea of eating whatever they want. And so one of the ways I became one of these people, I could pretty much eat whatever I want, is that I changed my definition of whatever I want. The truth is, I don't want to eat pizza every single night. On a mental level, I might want it. Like, it sounds like a great idea. It sounds delicious, but the truth is, I feel so terrible afterwards that I don't really want to eat pizza every single night. Or if I do eat pizza, it's one or two pieces. I don't know that in the past handful of years I've ever eaten more than two pieces of pizza. Now, I want to on the one hand, right? But on the other hand, I know that the fallout, the ramifications, the the result of me eating whatever I want is not a reality that I want. And so on the one hand, I've changed my attitude and my definitions of what does it mean to eat whatever you want, because I don't want to eat pizza every single night. I definitely do not want to drink alcohol every single night. And while I wish that I could, I would definitely be one of those women who drinks multiple glasses of wine per night if I could, but I can't, right? So if I want a glass of wine, I'm going to have it. I eat whatever I want. I drink whatever I want. I can have it if I want it, but I know that there has to be a balance. And so truth number one is really, it comes down to an energy balance, and it also comes down to a definition. What is your definition of eating whatever you want? Because I know when I was younger and I really got frustrated by this concept of people that I believed who ate whatever they wanted. I remember when I was in my 20s, I had a client who was her name was Annie. She was rail thin. She was so fabulous. And she would always claim that she would eat whatever she wants. And I remember, until I went out to dinner with her, I remember being so mad and frustrated because I was struggling with my health, my energy. Those of you guys that know my story of when I was in my 20s in New York City, I kind of ate whatever I wanted, but I always felt terrible. And so I remember being really almost kind of mad and frustrated. Like, how is it she gets to eat whatever she wants and looks fabulous, feels fabulous, goes out until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning every single night, and, is also crushing it in her career? And I would get really frustrated about it until I came to understand it. And until I was able to really come to understand my own physiology and learn a new way of eating, which I'm going to share with you some more tips on that in a minute, that now I'm that girl. Now I'm that person who does eat whatever I want. No food is off limits to me. No food is off limits to me, but it comes with some considerations. It comes with some other agreements. It comes with certain stipulations and certain boundaries because I can't do it every day. I can't do it all day. I can't do it too frequently because I will pay the price. And what is the price that you would pay for doing that? It's different for all of us. There were times in my life where when I felt good, the price I was paying is that I would get a little bit more bloated than I wanted to be, or I would get more inflamed, or I would gain weight, or I would gain body fat. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that as the ramification to eating whatever I wanted. And so there were times that it was different. And now for me, it really is I eat whatever I want to the degree that I continue to feel well. And if I do it a little too frequently, I'll wake up on a Tuesday morning not feeling so good. And I know that I need to start to reel it in and start cleaning up my act a little bit because I pay the price for eating whatever I want. And what I've found is that everyone does. So the truth is, a lot of those women, they eat whatever they want. As I learned with my client Annie, once I finally went out to dinner with her for a few times, the bread basket that she eats 2 bites of it. And the wine is 1 glass of wine that she nurses all throughout dinner. And the dessert that she eats is 1 bite of dessert. And then the next day, she doesn't eat anything until noon, or she starves herself all day long until it's time to go out to dinner again. So while she might say, I eat whatever I want, when we take a closer look at it, the whole picture isn't what you think it is. It's not what you think it is, because her definition of eating whatever she wants whenever she wants isn't your definition. The truth is, we are all living according to the laws of physics. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. If you eat more energy, if you take in more energy than you expend, there's going to eventually be a result from that. Okay? Eventually. It won't be overnight. It won't be the next day. But if you do that too frequently, you're going to gain weight. And that weight could come from muscle. It could come from body fat. That depends on your training and your programming. But if you take in more energy than you're expending, your body will change. You will gain weight. And the reverse is also true. If you're taking in less than you're expending out over a period of time, not just a 24-hour window, but if you are expending more than you're taking in, you're going to lose weight. And that weight loss could be body fat, but it could also be muscle loss. It's not always body fat when you lose weight. It could be water. It could be inflammation because of how you're changing your diet. So the truth, number one, is it always comes down to energy and calories. When you think she's eating whatever she wants, I promise you, she might be eating a whole lot now, but if you were to follow her along day in and day out and watch her habits, what you would see is that there is a net caloric balance. And that means that she's eating the same amount that she's expending, and therefore she doesn't gain weight or lose weight. She's just always fabulous. So that's truth number one. If you're popping in live here, please say hello and share with me if this lands for you, if this is helpful, if you know someone like this, or if you've ever been someone like this. So earlier, Gina shared that she used to be that way until she was 55. And Gina, if you're still here, I would love to talk about it a little bit more because I've got some insights on that too. And let's see, who is here? Oh, Heidi shared one of my favorites. Heidi is having the green hot cinnamon spice from Herney and Sons, which I recommended. And she says, oh my God, it's amazing. Okay, Heidi, did you just get it? Is this your first time trying it? So let me tell you guys something. I've got a cupboard full of teas. I am a tea snob. And it's the only way I keep myself away from drinking too much coffee is I drink tea. It's my caffeine of choice because coffee makes me feel terrible, even though I love it. So I have tried so many teas out there. The Harney and Sons hot cinnamon spice is, I mean, it's legitimately award winning. They have won so many awards with this tea because it is so unusual. Okay, here we go, you guys. I got the eye twitch. It has come back. I'm convinced the eye twitch has something to do with these glasses. When I wear these glasses and I look at a computer monitor, I get this eye twitch. It doesn't happen all the time. It's only when I wear these glasses. I think I need to get new glasses. So if you see me playing with my eye, that's why. So the Harney and Sons hot cinnamon spice tea. If that sounds like something that would be your jam, try it. It is to die for. I am obsessed with it. They somehow have created this beautiful balance of like the nicest cinnamon. They use 3 different kinds of cinnamon. It's got this sweetness to it. It almost tastes like it has sugar in it, but it doesn't. So it's so satisfying. If you ever have that sort of like after dinner or after a meal when you want something sweet, but you don't want to eat something sweet, the hot cinnamon spice is to die for. In fact, even though I'm traveling, I've got some of it in my bag downstairs. I brought it with me because I absolutely love it. So by the way, I'm not sponsored by Herney and Sons. I wish that I was. So if anyone knows anyone at Herney and Sons, I'm open for a collaboration or maybe even a sponsorship. If you'd like to send me some free tea, I would take it because I love Herney and Sons. So this is not sponsored. This is just genuinely one of my favorite absolute teas. But Heidi, I'm glad that you tried it. So they offer it in a black, a green, and an herbal. I have actually not had the green before because I always do the black, and I also generally keep the herbal on hand too. It's amazing. So that if you ever want to drink it late at night. Welcome. If this is your first time here, please say hello. Welcome to California. Welcome to Crestline, California. We're up in the mountains where it's sunny, but it's cold. So we got the fireplace going. I'm going to be in California here for the next couple of weeks, which I'm very excited about. Okay. So Angie Hereford, my first hot tea with Holly. Welcome, Angie. You guys, welcome, Angie. Please say hello to her. I'm so glad that you are here. Angie, you are amidst friends, and I've got several of my friends here today. A lot of the women that are joining us live are here with me every week. I'm so glad you're here. Hi, Holly Miles. How are you, my friend? I hope you got my voice memo. Okay, back on topic. So today we are talking about those women who seem to eat whatever they want and the truth about the circumstance because it's not what it seems. So truth number 2, I got my notes over here. Hold on. Okay. Truth number 2 is that just because she can do it doesn't mean you can do it. And this was another piece of the puzzle for me that I had to learn in my own journey when I got so mad that there were these women who just seemed to be able to eat whatever they want as much as they want in great quantities every single day. And I couldn't do that because I was actually eating healthy and running 8 miles in Central Park and still 15 pounds overweight and still felt like crap. And for decades, I couldn't figure it out. Right. And it wasn't until at the age of 40 that I really cracked the nut and figured this out. So the truth number 2 about this idea is that we all have unique physiology. And just because there's a woman who can do it doesn't mean that you can do it. So over the years, I've had a couple of girlfriends who were like this. I remember a dear friend of mine, Allie, in New York City. She would eat an H&H bagel with cream cheese every single day for breakfast. And I don't know if you guys know H&H bagels, but they're literally 600 calories each. They are enormous. And she would eat an H&H bagel every single day for breakfast. She really did seem to be able to eat whatever she wanted, and she was fabulous and thin and gorgeous. And I remember it was at a time when I was really struggling. I felt terrible. No matter what I ate, no matter how much I exercised, I was always carrying an extra 10 or 15 pounds, always. A lot of it was inflammation. I learned years later. But the point is, the truth here is that we all have different physiology. There are a very few, very lucky women out there. I would say 5%, maybe 10% of the female population who happens to have physiology that's really optimal. They don't have digestive issues. They don't have autoimmune issues. They don't have allergies. They don't have thyroid issues. For whatever reason, they have physiology that is able to handle a little bit more, or things that some of us can't handle. And I would not be able to mimic some of those behaviors of some of those women because my physiology can't do it. And it took me many, many years to figure out why. But the truth is, I do have some unique physiology that means I can't eat a lot of grains. I have to be very careful with which grains I eat and how frequently I eat them. I can't eat dairy. And while I might do it from time to time, I pay the price. And I really have to be careful with alcohol. One a week is about all I can handle. And that's because of my unique physiology. And more specifically, that's because of some chronic health conditions that have been diagnosed in my body. And that's a whole other episode for us to talk about why, right? Why is that my physiology? Why am I the one that has some of these health diagnoses that are really challenging to deal with? And so you have to remember, so as an example, back in my 20s, some of the health conditions that just got diagnosed in the past couple of years were there in my 20s. They didn't get diagnosed. Doctor after doctor after doctor told me there was nothing wrong with me, and I was the picture of health, even though I felt terrible. And it wasn't until I got to the right doctors, it wasn't until I did the right tests just a few years ago that I figured out there were actually a lot of health things brewing and happening inside of my body that I wasn't aware of. And that is why I can't eat a bagel every single day with cream cheese. And I can't eat sandwiches every single day. And I can't eat pasta. And I can't drink red wine, God forbid. And so there might be unique physiology for your body that means you're just not able to do it like she can. And while she's not really doing it anyway, that's truth number one, she might be getting away with eating certain foods that you can't eat. And so that really comes down to getting up close and personal and really putting your big girl pants on and really coming to terms with your unique physiology and what that means for you, and deciding, do you want to pay the price? Because if the price for you is that the alcohol is putting you in a pre-diabetic state, as per your doctor, or the extra calories that you're eating on the weekends are putting an extra 5 or 10 pounds of body fat on you that make you unhappy, you've got to come to terms with, you have a choice here. You have a choice here. And while she might be able to have a bottle of wine at night, you can too, but you might decide that you're not willing to pay the price for what that means for your health or the reality of where your body is. Truth number 3 is to learn your budget. What is your budget? What can you get away with? And this is how I've learned to become one of those women who I think a lot of people, well, I know for a fact, a lot of people often look at me, even still today, and say, how do you eat as much as you eat? I hear this almost daily. I mean, I hear this a lot. People are like, how are you getting away with that? How do you eat that? God, you eat a lot. How do you stay so thin? And, I couldn't eat that X, Y, and Z. I get these comments on a regular basis from people. So I know some people perceive me as being one of those women. And you might even think that I'm one of those women, but I'm not. And if you know me well, you know that I'm not. But the truth is, you have to learn your budget. And that's what I did. And that's how I've been able to achieve it. Now, I decided to dedicate this episode of Hot Tea with Holly all about nutrition. And so I don't want to talk a whole lot about strength training, but I will tell you, I think my best kept secret is that because I've mastered strength training, that has really helped me be able to increase my food budget. Because when you've got lean muscle mass on you and you're strength training effectively every single week and you're building muscle, you're going to be amazed at how much more you can eat and how much better your body is at managing the food that you eat. I'm able to get away with a lot more now because I've mastered my strength training. So strength training is definitely a third truth, but I really want to keep this topic focused mostly on nutrition. So truth number 3 is that I've learned my budget, and my budget has grown because of my strength training. But learning your budget basically means you've got to learn what you can get away with. And once you learn what you can get away with and how much alcohol you can have, or how much sugar you can have, or how much pasta you can have, or how much ice cream, whatever your thing is, whatever your splurgy favorite foods are, if you learn your budget, you can have them. But you have to balance a budget. Just like finances or just like anything else, time or sleep, you have to learn to balance your budget. What can you get away with? Because for every beer I have, there's a budget. I can only have so much, so frequently, and I have to balance it with what I'm eating. There has to be protein, and the day that I'm having alcohol, I can't have any other grains. I can't have any other dairy. So I learned my budget. If Friday night I want to have a beer, my diet all day long on Friday is immaculate so that I can have that beer at night and not pay the price on Saturday. And that applies to sugar, that applies to grains, that applies to dairy for me, that applies to just too many calories in general. There's a budget for each one of us. And once you learn your budget, if you want to have a Snickers, Lori, you could probably budget it in, and you can. This is exactly why I teach macronutrient balancing. If you're new to the conversation of what it means to budget your calories, I have a free download, totally free, beautiful 14-page download that you can get by going to my website, hollyperkins.com/macros. I will post the link here so that you can go grab that free download, because it will start to walk you through how I do it. It will walk you through how you can have your favorite foods and still respect your budget so that you can still get the body that you want. Because the truth is, Lori, I promise you, if I worked with you and I taught you a few things, you could have a Snickers once a week and not gain 10 pounds. You could. You absolutely could. But it requires some other things in some other areas in your life. And it certainly requires adhering to your unique budget and your unique physiology. Questions. Is this helpful for you guys? It's one of my favorite topics. And I've had this conversation offline over the years a number of times with people. And so today I was like, why have I never formally had this conversation with you guys? Because it's really helpful to start to understand the next time you spot that woman, Oh, and by the way, there's another consideration I didn't share. There are also personalities out there that aren't exactly being truthful. They like to put up the front that they eat whatever they want, but they're actually not being truthful. And behind the scenes, they're actually restricting their calories. And this is a very common symptom of an eating disorder. And so I have worked with clients in the past over the years where this was the kind of special dynamic. She claimed that she eats whatever she wants, and in public, she would demonstrate that, but behind the scenes, that's actually not what was happening. And so it can also be a symptom of other personality considerations or other even potential disordered eating. So there are a lot of considerations, but the truth is, it's not what you think it is. And so the next time that you wrestle with this concept, just remember it's not what you think it is. And we all have to live according to the laws of physics, which is energy in, energy out. And if you're eating too much pizza and ice cream and wine and sugar and donuts, there will be a change in your physiology. You will gain weight. If you're strength training real good and you're working out real hard and you're expending a lot of calories in your workouts, that weight gain could be muscle, not body fat. Chances are it's going to come with some body fat. Jennifer Bean, if you're here and you want to comment on this, it would be awesome because Jennifer, many of you guys know, Jennifer Bean is Coach Jennifer in my community, and she has, over the past year or so, really become more a part of my business, a part of my community. She supports me in some of my programs. For those of you guys that have joined us for the Nutrition Project or the Glutes Project, she's an official coach and an official ambassador to both of those programs. And I've been working with Jennifer here over the past couple of years, and she's also an incredible example because just this past year, at some point, we had her up to eating 2,000 calories, maybe more, and she was getting leaner because of this whole budget that I'm talking about, because of her strength training, because of what she's actually eating. She was building muscle, getting leaner, and looking better. Oh, stay tuned. If you are on my email update list, I'm going to be sending out an email this week sharing a really incredible interview that I did with Jennifer and Heidi, who's here today, in terms of them sharing their stories about how they do it. Because I think, Jennifer, you are here. Great. I think a lot of people would look at Jennifer and say she's one of those girls who can eat whatever she wants because she is able to eat a lot. There's also a lot of strategy that's going on for her. Jennifer shares Game Changer to find your own personal budget. Best part of strength training is your budget increases. And it's really true. That is another reason why I'm so passionate about helping you build muscle through strength training, because it literally increases your budget and allows you to eat more. It's the best kept secret ever. It really is. So I want to read a couple of comments before we sign off. If you have any questions, please share. Okay, Andy shares. Oh, right. So Andy sharing Good Earth also makes a delicious cinnamon tea. So I'll share with you guys. Harney and Sons actually mimicked, copied the Good Earth. What do they call it? Hot and spicy or sweet and spicy, right? They call it sweet and spicy. Yes, exactly. So Good Earth calls their sweet and spicy tea. It's the same exact, maybe not same exact, but the Harney and Sons version is basically a knockoff of the Good Earth sweet and spicy, which I agree. It's absolutely amazing. And obviously that's easier to find because you can find that in most grocery stores. They've been making that tea for 30 years now. That tea has been around forever. Andy shares, I once heard a model saying that she and many models have freakish physiology that allows them to eat without gaining weight. And I will say that is true. So many of you know I've worked with Carly Kloss in the past, and I worked with her enough to know some of the behind the scenes. And I actually will agree with that there are some freaks of nature they tend to be supermodels, right? There are people out there that are just freaks of nature who are able to eat quite a bit because they've got fast metabolisms, they've got the genetics for it. There definitely are some women, but even still, I think if you were to follow these people around, I think you would find that their definition of eating everything is not your definition of eating everything. So even when these supermodels say they have freakish bodies and that they can eat whatever they want, I still think if you hung out with them for 2 or 3 weeks, you would find it's not exactly what you think it is. And yes, some people are more blessed and are able to get away with a lot more. Facebook user. I don't know who you are because for whatever reason it's coming up as Facebook user. Thanks for this topic. I'm trying to think of the what I want things differently. There are foods that look really good or smell really good, and I might appreciate them, and I know I like them. But for now in my life, they're not what I want. I try to label them as foods that look really delicious, but I don't want them, or the price is too high right now. And that's me exactly. So a phrase that I have come to use a lot when someone offers me a food that I really, really want, let's say like pizza. Pizza makes me feel awful. Pizza and ice cream make me feel terrible. And I'll do it from time to time, but I'll feel terrible the next day. But I've come to look at it and say, when they say, don't you want some pizza? Yeah, I do. And I'm not going to do it because the price is too high. So I so agree with that way of phrasing it. Let's see here. Lori Hoffman. Well, girl, you got your work cut out for you, LOL, because I'm 50 and my doctors can't figure out my body. I am a food snob. I don't touch carbs and I'm active daily, but these 15 pounds is here to stay. I'm afraid. Lori, I would like to offer you something. I know you believe that the 15 pounds are there to stay, but I'm here to tell you that doesn't have to be the truth or the reality if you don't want it to. It just means if you want to release those 15 pounds, it just means you haven't found your path yet. I promise you. Because if you worked with me, if I was able to work with you one-on-one, I could help you do it. I've done it. So I offer that only as hope for you if you feel you ever want to release that. Doctors are not the end all be all in terms of their knowledge of this. It's like I said, all through my 20s and 30s, I went to doctor after doctor after doctor after doctor, and they didn't help me until I got a different kind of help and I figured it out myself. And I've basically proven them all wrong to some degrees, right? So I promise you, it's just that you haven't found the methodology, because it's not just not touching carbs and exercising, because I do that too. It could be a little bit more complicated than that, and it could be a different angle of this. It might not just be about carbs, and it might not just be about your energy expenditure. Really and truly, I just want to be the voice of, if you ever get to the point in your life where you do want to prove them wrong, I promise you, it's just a function of finding the methodology, finding the system, finding the budget, finding the habits that lead to success for your unique physiology. The answer's out there. I promise you. I've been doing this for 30 years and I have yet been proven wrong. Believe it or not. Okay, guys, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for joining me. And I just want to circle back and remind you, if you ever want to join me for an episode here, you don't have to appear on camera, but you would have to appear via audio with me here for some free coaching. I am going to be, let's call it, interviewing potential people to join me for an interview series here on Hot Tea with Holly. All you got to do is send me an email, holly@hollyperkins.com. You could leave a comment here if you're here with me live. If you're watching this in playback, leave a comment wherever you're watching it down below that you would like to join me. You would like some free coaching, and let me know what you're struggling with, the things that you have tried, what your goals are, and maybe you would be perfect for one of those episodes. Until then, stay strong, and I'll see you next time.